we have a chance of running out. O negative is only 7% of the population. When you need to give blood and don't know what the person's blood type is, you can safely give O. That makes O special.
Years ago, when deadly diseases swept through certain Native American communities, some families remained mysteriously untouched. People began to wonder, what made them different? The answer, it turns out, was hidden in their blood type. Back then, science couldn't explain much, but today, with advanced research and modern technology, we're starting to understand the powerful secrets behind this rare immunity. Join us in this video as we uncover the fascinating truth about type O blood. The blood group system. When you think of blood, you probably just picture it flowing through your body, doing its thing. But there's actually a lot more going on. Blood is super important and packed with history. It's linked to our DNA and the way humans have changed over time. One of the most interesting parts of blood is that it's not the same for everyone. In fact, we're all grouped into one of 4 main blood types: A, B, AB, or O. This grouping comes from something called the blood group system. So, what exactly makes someone type A and not type B or O? It all comes down to tiny markers on your red blood cells, called antigens. Imagine these antigens as small identity tags. They help your body figure out what belongs and what doesn't. If something unfamiliar shows up, your immune system can jump in to fight it off. If your blood is type A, then your red blood cells have A markers. If you're type B, you've got B markers. People with AB blood have both A and B, which makes them a bit rare. Now type O is a little different. It doesn't have any A or B markers at all. Because of this, type O is often called the universal donor. That means in emergencies, like when someone needs a quick blood transfusion, type O can usually be given to anyone without causing problems. But here's something that puzzles scientists. Why is type O blood much more common in native groups from the Americas? The answer may lie in our past. Over time, human bodies have changed to better survive in their surroundings. This shift in blood types is just one small piece of how we've adapted to life in different parts of the world. Advantage of having type O blood. Think about your blood like a delivery truck driving through the roads of your body. If the road is smooth and the truck is fast, it can drop off more oxygen to where it's needed. Type O blood, it's kind of like that speedy truck. It flows more easily because it doesn't have as much of the stuff that makes blood thick and sticky. This smoother flow means oxygen moves around better, especially helpful if you're living somewhere high up, like in the mountains, where the air is thin and harder to breathe. In places like that, having blood that moves fast could give your body a little boost. But there's another side to this story that people don't always think about. Back in the days when small communities had to take care of each other to survive, being able to donate blood to anyone could make you really important. In a tight-knit group, if someone was injured or a woman was struggling during childbirth, a person with type O blood could step in and help. That act alone could save lives. And when saving lives made you more respected or seen as valuable, that could also mean you had more chances to start a family and pass on your blood type to your kids. That might be one reason why type O blood stuck around and spread more in some groups. But even though this idea is fascinating, we should be careful not to say that one blood type is better than the rest. The truth is, many different things play a role in survival, like the kind of land people live on, how clean or dirty the environment is, what food is around, and even how well a community works together during tough times. So, it's not just about the blood type, it's about the whole picture. Still, it's likely that type O blood became more common in certain places because it helped in a bunch of different ways, not just because it flowed faster or helped someone donate. And here's the really cool part. Where someone lives can actually shape what kind of blood is more common there. The environment, climate, and even local diseases can all play a part. Type O might be the most common blood type in the world overall, but it doesn't show up the same way everywhere. When you look at blood types this way, it's like looking at a map of how people moved, survived, and helped each other across thousands of years. Why type O blood is common in certain groups of people. Back before ships crossed oceans and maps drew lines between countries, the people of the Americas lived in a world all their own. For thousands of years, they were cut off from the rest of the world. No outside visitors, no mixing of cultures or genes, just the people and the land. And this long period of being separated from everyone else played a huge role in shaping the bodies of the people who lived there, especially when it comes to blood types. With no new blood types coming in from other places, what was already there had time to grow and spread. One type stood out, type O. It slowly became the most common blood type among native groups. Not by chance, but because it helped them survive. Harsh winters in the north, thin air in high mountains like the Andes, and new sicknesses that popped up over the years. Type O blood seemed to give people an edge. This blood type doesn't have the A or B markers that other types do, and that might have helped early people fight off deadly infections that were common in their time. Those who had it stayed alive longer, had more kids, and passed on that blood type. As families moved around the continent, settling in forests, deserts, coasts, and mountains, type O blood came with them, quietly spreading through each new generation. Other places that were also cut off from the rest of the world, like small islands in the Pacific or hidden mountain villages, show similar patterns. The longer a group stays isolated, the more one blood type can take over. But even among these places, the Americas have the highest rates of type O blood. That says something big about the history of the land and the people who've lived on it for ages. But this story isn't just about the past. It connects deeply with today. The spread of type O blood across native groups shows just how far and wide ancient people traveled. It opens the door to questions about how they lived, the routes they took, and how they stayed alive in such different places. And now, with modern science and DNA tools, we can trace these movements in ways we never could before. Understanding this isn't just for history buffs. It matters right now in the world of healthcare. You see, type O blood is a big deal when someone needs help fast, especially type O negative. It's known as the universal donor. That means it can be safely used for anyone, no matter their blood type. In emergencies where there's no time to check someone's blood type, doctors often grab O negative blood first. Even type O positive is super helpful. It can be given to anyone with a positive Rh factor, and that includes a lot of people. This flexibility makes type O blood one of the most valuable tools in hospitals. When someone loses a lot of blood in an accident or during surgery, having the right kind on hand can mean the difference between life and death. But here's the catch. Because it can help so many people, type O blood is always in high demand, and that leads to a serious problem. There's often not enough to go around. Hospitals and blood banks everywhere struggle to keep enough in stock. This is especially hard during disasters, wars, or large accidents when the need for quick blood transfusions skyrockets. That's why people with type O blood, especially O negative, are urgently needed to donate. Their blood is like gold in the medical world. Every donation can save lives, and the need never stops. But there's more. Blood types don't just matter when someone gets hurt. Studies show that the kind of blood you have might change your chances of getting certain diseases. Some research says people with type O blood may have a lower risk of heart problems and react differently to some infections. That's led scientists to ask even bigger questions. Why does this happen? What role does our blood play in our overall health? Digging into those questions has opened doors to personalized medicine. The idea that doctors could one day treat people based on things like their blood type, not just general symptoms. Imagine getting care that's made just for your body. That's the future researchers are chasing right now. Still, there's another side of this story that we can't ignore: fairness. Even though type O blood is common in some groups, not everyone has equal access to it. In some parts of the world, especially where the health system isn't strong, people might not get the blood they need when they need it most. That's not right. Solving this means doing more than just asking people to donate. It means finding better ways to store and move blood. It means sharing resources between countries. And it means building a system that makes sure everyone, no matter where they live, has a fair chance to survive. Before we continue, let's take a look at today's subscriber's pick. In this picture, the most striking feature is the facial scarring. These marks were not just decorative, they were used to identify different Native American tribes. Each tribe had its own distinct look, which was important to their identity and culture. For example, the Sioux tribe was known for their use of feathers, while other tribes like the Iroquois, Navajo, Comanche, Cheyenne, and Apache also had unique facial markings that set them apart. Warriors from these tribes often bore scars that they might have received in battle, signifying their strength or bravery. Additionally, some tribes engaged in ritual scarification or facial tattooing as part of their spiritual or cultural practices. These marks could signify milestones such as coming of age, warrior status, or spiritual visions. Unlike the permanent facial scarring practices found in other parts of the world, these markings were often symbolic and were part of a larger tradition of identity and cultural expression. What are your thoughts on the picture? Share your views in the comments section below. How type O blood helps people survive and stay healthy. Think of blood type O like a house that's not very inviting to unwanted visitors, like germs and illnesses. While other blood types might be more welcoming, type O seems to shut the door tighter. This could mean people with type O blood didn't get sick as often or as badly as others. And in small, close communities, like the early native groups in the Americas, this would have been a big deal. Imagine living in a small village, far away from the rest of the world. If just one person got sick, it could spread quickly through everyone. But if you were the kind of person who didn't get sick easily, like someone with type O blood, your chances of staying healthy were higher. And in a time before modern medicine, that could be the difference between life and death. But it's not just about sickness. There's also the way people ate. Back then, food wasn't the same everywhere. Some folks lived by the sea and ate a lot of fish. Others farmed and ate mostly things like corn and beans. Scientists believe your blood type might play a part in how well your body uses the food you eat. People with type O blood seem to do better with meals full of meat and healthy fat, the kind of diet hunters and gatherers ate long ago. So when you look at it this way, blood type O wasn't just about handling sickness better. It may have helped people get more energy from the kind of food they had. Whether you were climbing mountains, living in thick forests, or fishing along the coast, the way your blood worked with your food and environment mattered more than we used to think. Now, let's go a little deeper into how type O blood might have helped people fight off sickness. Go back in time before hospitals and pills were around. In those days, diseases were scary and often deadly. One wrong sickness could wipe out a village. But some research shows people with type O blood weren't as easy to infect with certain diseases. That's a big deal. Take malaria, for example. It didn't really show up in the Americas until much later, when people from other continents brought it. Still, studies show that type O blood can handle malaria better than the other types. That's interesting, even if it didn't play a role in early American history. It gives us a clue about how the shape and surface of red blood cells can protect us. Here's the simple version. Germs, bacteria, and viruses like to attach themselves to stuff on the outside of red blood cells. Blood types A and B have more stuff for germs to grab onto. But type O, it's like a smooth wall. The germs can't get a good grip, so they slide off or never attach at all. That little difference would have helped people live longer and stay healthier in rough places. The cultural superstitions and spiritual beliefs about type O blood. In some countries, people believe that your blood type can tell a lot about who you are as a person. This belief is especially strong in Japan, where it is known as Ketsueki Gata. It is kind of like how some people in other parts of the world follow horoscopes. Instead of using your birthday to guess your personality, people in Japan and a few other countries look at your blood type. This idea started in the early years of the last century. A Japanese professor named Takeji Furukawa wrote a paper saying that blood types were linked to the way people act. Even though he had no strong proof, the idea became very popular. Over time, people began to believe that your blood type could tell them what kind of person you are, what job is best for you, and even who you should date or marry. People with type O blood are usually seen in a very special way. Many believe they are natural-born leaders. They are described as confident, strong, and able to take charge. They are often said to be outgoing and full of energy. Some even believe that type O people are more likely to become famous athletes or powerful business owners because they never give up and are always looking for success. But the beliefs about type O people are not always good. While they are praised for being confident, some also say they can be too proud. Others believe they are selfish, or that they care too much about being the best. Because of these ideas, some people may treat type O individuals in a negative way. They might say that a person with type O blood is too aggressive or too bossy, even if that is not true. In schools, children have been teased or left out because of their blood type. Some teachers, without meaning to, may treat type O students differently because they think those students will act a certain way. At work, people might get passed over for a job or promotion just because of their blood type. Some companies in Japan have even asked people to write their blood type on job applications, which many believe is unfair. It also affects people's love lives. There are dating apps and websites in Japan and South Korea where people search for a partner based on blood type. Some people will not date someone with a certain type of blood because they believe the relationship will fail. For example, a person with type O blood might be told not to date someone with type A or B because they are not seen as a good match. Even newspapers and magazines print advice based on blood type. You might see articles with titles like, "What kind of lover are you based on your blood type?" or "The best careers for type O people." It is treated like real science by many, even though doctors and scientists have said again and again that these ideas are not true. This kind of thinking has also spread to other places like South Korea and Taiwan. It is not as common in the West, but in those countries, millions of people still believe in it. People will buy books, charms, and lucky items based on their blood type. Some even go to fortune tellers who give advice based on what kind of blood they have. Now here's the scary part. This belief, even though it seems harmless, can be very dangerous. It leads to something called blood type discrimination. This means treating someone unfairly because of the blood they were born with. Just like racism or sexism, it causes pain and creates limits for people who did nothing wrong. Some people with type O blood may feel pressure to act tough or brave all the time, because that is what others expect of them. They might hide their true feelings or pretend to be someone they are not. Others might be judged before anyone gets to know them. A boss might say, "Oh, you're type O? You're probably too loud for this job." Or a friend might say, "Type O people are always selfish," based on nothing but superstition. This is a big problem because it puts people into boxes they can't get out of. Scientists have studied this idea for many years, and most agree there is no real link between blood type and personality. There are no special powers or hidden traits in your blood that decide if you will be brave or lazy, kind or cold. Still, because these beliefs are so old and deep, they are hard to get rid of. In the end, being type O can feel like both a gift and a curse. On one hand, people might admire you and think you are strong and fearless. On the other hand, they may expect too much from you, or judge you unfairly when you do not act the way they think you should. All of this just because of something you were born with, something you had no choice in. Why type O blood is important today. Long ago, before we had hospitals, fancy labs, or even a basic idea of what blood types meant, people didn't think twice about who gave blood to who. But today, we know that not every blood type works with another. That's where type O blood comes in. It's like the superhero of blood types. Doctors can use it for almost anyone, especially when there's no time to test the patient's type. In emergencies and surgeries, this type of blood saves lives. And even with all the new science popping up, type O still plays a big role. Researchers are working on some pretty cool stuff, like making fake blood in the lab, finding new ways to figure out someone's blood type faster, and even trying to change genes so more people can give or get blood safely. But still, nothing beats the natural power of type O when time is running out and someone needs help fast. Now, let's switch gears and talk about where all this blood stuff fits in with our past. You see, our blood, especially the type we have, tells a deeper story. It's tied to our DNA, the tiny blueprint inside all of us that holds clues about who we are and where we come from. That includes the journeys our families took many years ago. For example, scientists found that type O blood shows up a lot in the first people who lived in the Americas. That little detail helps us understand how groups of people moved, settled in new lands, and built their communities over time. It's not just about science, it's about family, roots, and history. DNA doesn't just tell us about faraway ancestors, it also helps people today feel closer to their past. One story that really shows this is about someone related to the famous Native American leader, Sitting Bull. Thanks to DNA testing, this person could prove their family connection. That's more than just science. It's a deep, personal moment that ties someone's life today to a powerful piece of history. With new DNA tools, people can dig into their background like never before. They can find out which regions their ancestors came from, how those ancestors moved around, and how different groups mixed with each other. This has helped many people better understand their native roots. For those who grew up hearing family stories but didn't have proof, DNA can back up those stories or even reveal brand new parts of their history. For Native communities, this means a lot. These groups have deep traditions, stories passed down through generations, and strong ties to the land. DNA doesn't replace that, but it can support and strengthen it. Sometimes it even reconnects people with their culture after years of being separated from it. When someone from a Native background learns about their DNA, it can be a powerful moment. It might confirm stories they grew up with or reveal truths they never knew. It brings the past to life and makes people feel like they belong, not just in a history book, but in something real and living. What's really amazing is that scientists can now find special parts in a person's DNA that connect directly to the first people of the Americas. That means people today can trace their family line all the way back to the original folks who lived on these lands. For some, this isn't just about curiosity. It's about reclaiming a piece of themselves that was lost or hidden after hundreds of years of being pushed off their land or forced to give up their ways. This kind of discovery doesn't just stay in the past. It changes lives today. It can bring back traditions, languages, and cultural ties that were almost forgotten. It can also play a role in serious matters like legal rights or getting benefits that are meant for Indigenous people. One story that really hits home is that of Ernie LaPointe. He found out through DNA that he's directly related to Sitting Bull, the famous Lakota leader. This wasn't just about proving he was part of history. For Ernie, it meant honoring the stories told in his family, holding on to their connection, and keeping that history alive. Sitting Bull is a powerful symbol of Native strength, and proving that connection meant everything. This shows just how much DNA can connect the old world with the new. It helps people find where they belong and gives them a way to hold on to their roots in a way that matters deeply. But it's not all simple. As more people turn to DNA to learn about their Native background, big questions come up. Like, how do we keep people's private details safe? How do we make sure no one's information is used without permission? And who really has the right to use and profit from this kind of personal data? Being part of a tribe or Native group isn't just about having certain genes. It's also about speaking the language, following traditions, being accepted by the community, and living the culture every day. A DNA test can't tell you all of that. There's also concern about companies making money off people's desire to learn about their roots. That makes a lot of folks wonder, who really owns this information, and is it fair? What matters most is that this science is used in a respectful way. Native communities need to have control over how their people's DNA is used. As these tests become more popular, we have to make sure they're helping, not hurting. In the end, it's about balance. Yes, DNA can teach us a lot. It can reconnect people with their past, back up long-told stories, and even help secure rights. But we have to use it with care, keeping respect and consent front and center, because behind every test result is a real person with a real story, and that story deserves to be treated with respect. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.